people making less than $12,000 a year should not have to pay no property taxes, none. They're losing their homes today because their taxes double because of reevaluation. And it's not, it's up to this sitting board, any board. And every time you open your mouth and make a motion that passes, whether it be in the legislature or Lowell, it affects everyone. It affects everyone in North Carolina. What y'all do affects everyone in Lowell. But thank you, all of you, for your support, and we look forward to doing a better job for Lowell. And thank y'all. Thank you.
Less than $12,000 a year should not have to pay no property taxes, none.
That's good.
They're losing their homes today because their taxes double because of reevaluation. It's not, it's up to the sitting board anyway. And every time you open your mouth and make a motion for passes.
We have to hear it again.
It affects everyone.
Okay. Anyone else wish to speak? Okay. If not,
Wait a minute.
oh, I'm sorry, Pam.
My name is Pam Smith, and I have a small business here in town. And I just want to, on a positive note, I just want to thank everybody that's sitting up here for the job you've done in the number of years you've been there. A lot of great things have happened to this town, and I appreciate everything you've done. Everybody's always been accessible when anything comes up. Y'all don't always agree, but it's okay to agree to disagree, and you get things done. So thank you for everything you've done in the years you've been here. Business or 120 East First Street.
Anyone else? Okay. If not, we'll move right along. Next is the adoption of the agenda for this meeting. I believe we have some corrections.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I wanted to include that there is a removal of item 5B, which was the updated interlocal agreement from Lowell Elementary Waterline, which I can cover the update up to that in my manager's comments. And also to add item 2C, the March 3rd, 2023 special meeting minutes, and to add item 6L, task authorization number 2 for Labella, the former Yorkshire American Site demolition phase, extended construction administration, construction observation.
6L. Okay. Yes, sir.
Also one correction, someone else gave the invocation last month.
We corrected that.
Gotcha.
Okay. Okay, was there anything else? If not-
Motion to approve the minutes, the agenda, deleting item 5B, which is updated interlock agreement Lowell Elementary Waterline, to add item 2C, March 3rd, 2023 special meeting minutes, and to add item 6L, the task authorization task order 2, Labella project.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote. All in favor? Unanimous. Yeah, we need to. Okay, we get it all? Good job. Okay, unanimous. Okay, next is the approval of minutes from 10/10/2023.
And Madam Mayor, along with Councilman Gillespie's comment, you have the revised showing Rusty Frost gave the invocation.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion and second on the floor, all in favor? Okay. Next is October the 18th, 2023, special city council meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve October 18th, 2023 special city council meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor. All in favor? Unanimous? Next is the addition 2C for the special meeting minutes. I'm sorry. Here we go. Special meeting minutes from March 3rd, 2023.
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor? Unanimous? Okay. Okay. There we go. Next is special presentation.
Mayor, if I will, can I turn that over to the Honorable John Torbett?
Absolutely.
On cue, he steps to my.
Madam Mayor, members of council, most importantly citizens, it's a pleasure and honor to be in front of you this evening. Most importantly citizens, it's a pleasure and honor to be in front of you this evening. We're home from Raleigh probably until May, hopefully. We're keeping our fingers crossed. It'll be the longest hiatus we've had in a very, very long time. And I can assure you after 4 weeks at home, Dorothy was right. There is no place like home. It's an honor and privilege that I have that I'm able to do things somewhat out of the ordinary for most, and tonight's one of them. And before we get going, I didn't know, Mayor, you were from Surry County. Now that I know that, I expect that collectively your family and our family can get to snappy lunch and have a fried pork chop sandwich.
Absolutely.
But I hear for a proclamation declaring November 15th, 2023 as Sandy Rayleigh Day in Lowell, North Carolina. Whereas Sandy Rayleigh will leave service to the city of Lowell on December 12, 2023 after 8 years as mayor. And whereas Sandy was born in Surry County on February 17th, 1957. You and I, dear, were born under a 48-star flag. Do you know that? That's right. And grew up in a household with 2 sisters. During her youth, she worked picking tobacco in the fields of Surry County and playing country music with her sisters, Pam and Gina Hyatt, her father, Melvin Radford Hyatt, and mother, Sue Hyatt. And no doubt, maybe elbowing with Mr. Andy Griffith upon occasion, right? Whereas after moving to Lowell in 1975, Sandy continued careers in the hospitality industry, fire safety and equipment industry, owned and operated Elk Creek Candle in downtown Lowell, and retired as financial secretary from Unity Baptist Church in 2023. Whereas Sandy served 6 years on the City of Lowell Planning Board with 1 year as chairperson, as well as multiple years on the Master Planning Committee to help implement growth and positive change to the city. Whereas in 2015, Sandy ran for and became the mayor of Lowell and served 3 consecutive terms. And whereas as mayor, Sandy was active with the Central Iowa Council of Governments, the Montcross Chamber of Commerce, the Downtown Merchants Association, and one of the most important parts, the Lowell Women's Club. And whereas Sandy was a diligent promoter of the city as an area with great opportunity for a promising future, she was a strong champion for economic development opportunities. And whereas Sandy's mayoral tenure saw the creation of Gateway 85 Industrial Park, the demolition of the former Crompton and Knowles dye plant, the purchasing of the former Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club for the first city-owned indoor recreation facility, and secured a long-term lease agreement between the city and McCord Family Park. The opening of notable businesses including Washington Alloy, Friday Coffee Roasters, Courage Kia, Tyndall Subaru, Newell Brands, Groovy Beast Restaurant. I haven't been there yet, but now it's on the list. Miami Fusion and others. And whereas Sandy's career has been long and fruitful, and her leadership honorable, her work for the people of the city of Lowell personifies the spirit of public service, and it truly does, Mayor. And it's worthy of this recognition. Now therefore be it resolved that I, John A. Torbett, member of the North Carolina House of Representatives, District 108, on behalf of the City Council of the City of Lowell, past and present, do hereby proclaim November 15, 2023 as Sandy Rayleigh Day in the City of Lowell, and commend its observance to all residents. Now therefore be it further resolved that a copy of this proclamation, suitably engrossed, be given to Sandy Rayleigh, former mayor of the City of Lowell, proclaimed this 14th day of November 2023. The Honorable John A. Torbett, North Carolina House of Representatives, District 108. Would you join me at the podium, Mayor? Mayor, Council, it's a pleasure to have been in front of you. I'm going to, as normal, I got other things I got to do. But also want to tell you that the co-conspirator in all this, the manager Scott, is a gem, a true honor to the managerial part of governing. I always look forward to working with him, and it's a pleasure to do so. My office is always open to any of y'all. If I can ever do anything for you, just simply ask. And with that, God bless, Merry Christmas, and Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Just keep sending the free money.
Make a motion to approve proclamation declaring November 15th, 2023 as Sandy Rayleigh Day.
Second. Everybody.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, guys.
I said Tor, I don't know where I'm
Oh,
at.
no, I don't either. Oh, goodness. Whew, I can't see.
And also during this special presentation, the council and the city of Lowell would like to present you with the mayor's gavel. It's been a pleasure the past 2 years serving you as your mayor pro temp. And I hope you enjoy your rest of your living out of politics.
Beautiful.
That is so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hope y'all all have touch-up on your cameras. This could be looking bad up here. This is absolutely beautiful. And I'd just like to reiterate one more time that this is not an I position. This is a team position. And I couldn't have done any of this without all these people that I'm surrounded by. Scott Attaway being one of them. When we hired Scott, we had no clue what he'd be able to do. We felt in our hearts that it was the right thing to do. And he has proved himself over and over and over again. And Scott, we love you. I love you just like a little brother. And you just keep pushing forward, doing your best, because that's what you know how to do, your best. And we appreciate you. Okay, I'm gonna quit crying now.
One more thing during the special presentation. I apologize. I was given a letter from Mayor Nelson Wills, who was unable to attend the meeting tonight, and he asked me to read it out loud for you.
Okay.
It says, "Dear May Rayleigh, I trust this letter finds you well and thriving. On behalf of the entire community of the town of Cramerton, I write to express our deepest gratitude to your exemplary service to the city of Lowell and Gaston County. Your commitment and tireless dedication over the past 8 years as mayor of Lowell has left an indelible mark on the community. Your leadership has been instrumental in shaping Lowell's trajectory and fostering an environment of growth and prosperity. Serving 3 consecutive terms is a testament to the trust and confidence the community has placed in your capable hands. Your extensive involvement in the planning board for 6 years and your significant contributions to the master planning committee have been invaluable. Your foresight and strategic vision have played a pivotal role in guiding Lowell through various challenges and opportunities. The impact of your work resonates not only the borders of Lowell, but also extends the broader Gaston County community. Your active engagement with the Centronella Council of Governments and the Montcross Area Chamber of Commerce has been commendable. Your efforts in promoting Gaston County have not gone unnoticed, and your advocacy has contributed significantly to the region's well-being. Your role as a champion for economic development has been pivotal in driving progress and prosperity for our shared community. As mayor of Cramerton, I have witnessed firsthand the positive influence you have had on the growth and development of Gaston County. Your legacy is one of steadfast leadership, community collaboration, and a genuine passion for the well-being of the people you serve. Mayor Rayleigh, your service has been exemplary, and your departure leaves a void that will be challenging to fill. We extend our heartfelt appreciation for your selfless dedication to the city of Lowell and Gaston County. You have undoubtedly left a lasting impact, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you once again for your remarkable service, Mayor Nelson Wills."
That's nice.
I don't know what to say. If someone had told me in 1975, when I graduated from high school, and I'm telling my age now, you're gonna be the mayor of Lowell one day, I would have said, no way. But Harold Rankin did. He did. He told me years before he died, when he come and had coffee with me over there in the old drugstore, when I had my candle store. And, we'd talk and he'd tell me about that water line going up number 7, it's gotta be changed. I said, Harold, why are you telling me it's gotta be changed? He said, because you're gonna be mayor one day.
You're the mayor and it's been changed. It's been fixed. Working on it.
So, I know the day that I was sworn in, that Harold was in heaven saying, I told you so. I think I had a lot of people believing in me more than I believed in I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm gonna stop crying. You got any more letters?
No, ma'am.
Okay. If there are no more letters, then we'll continue, if I can see my paper, to the consent agenda. If there are no changes or questions about the consent agenda, I can take a motion for all the items, 4A through 4I.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor? Unanimous? Ooh, mercy. Okay. Next is unfinished business, 5A, consideration of contract North NCDOT, project number U5719, betterments.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to give a brief update, and then we have Randy Gates with us from the GCO that can support some more information. In the packet, we did have the consideration of this draft contract from NCDOT. There were some, I guess, changes that they're still working through with the draft. Therefore, they pushed this required approval out. So I think it'd be prudent to therefore abstain from any business on this item and let the new city council, the council-elect, handle this item. And at that point, I think it'd be a good point to pause and let Randy Gates introduce some more information on that. Randy, if you will.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I've been to many city council members across the state, and I don't think I've ever shed tears until tonight. So, all right, transportation. I-85 widening betterments, we've talked about this before. We've looked at cost estimates that have come from NCDOT. We do have some updated cost estimates from what was approved or supported at the council budget work session many months ago. I can share some of those numbers. They're going to change again, but we've seen a reduction of, it's going to be over $1 million reduced from what you had supported several months ago. So again, we're still working on the language for the interlocal agreement, and we're working on this with interlocal agreements with Gaston County, City of Gastonia, City of Belmont, as well as the City of Lowell. So it's kind of in a holding pattern right now until we get the final interlocal agreement language, kind of spelling out responsibilities for the department, NCDOT, responsibilities for the local governments with maintenance and some other things. So I do support the decision to hold off, postpone any type of formal action until we get more clarification on some changes, tweaks to the language in that interlocal agreement. Overall, though, schedule-wise, I always get that question of what the schedule's looking like for the I-85 widening. It has been delayed somewhat, so now they're looking at that letting for construction, the design-build contract is being postponed until November of 2024. It will be a good 12 to 16 months ramp-up time before we see any real construction along the corridor. And then we're looking at a 4 to 5 year build-out of that. As far as the interlocal agreements, we do need everything ironed on March 1st. Gives a timeline, the next steps that we need to take. So we do have a few months letting the council-elect get settled in, and then we can present the information to them at that time.
Okay.
Any questions for me? Yes.
Real quick, so we're looking at 25 per million kind of thing. When can you provide a schedule of what, for lack of a better way of putting it, this bridge is being blown up, then this one, and this one, so we can plan and route and do all those things?
I think the earliest we would have that information is early 2025. If the design build isn't being let for construction until November of 2024 now, it's going to take a few months for the design build team to come up with a plan for a schedule. So right now, we don't know what end of the corridor they're starting on, what bridges will be replaced first. So I think it will be
'Cause we got
early
3 right here that
2025.
will be blown up.
Yep, I think it'll be early 2025 before we know. But as soon as I have that information, I'll pass that along to everybody.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks,
you,
Randy.
Randy.
Thank you.
Okay, so do we need to do anything on that as far as, okay. We removed 5B. Next is new business. 6A is resolution to approve contract and authorize the city manager to sign closing documents for real property located at 715 North Main Street.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, this is for the property at 715 North Main Street, which is also known as the former Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club that we are under contract with to purchase right now. Resolution 12/2023 allows the city manager to sign all closing documents.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second on the floor. Any discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote. Very good. Next is reimbursements, resolution 11/2023.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a reimbursement resolution for 715 North Main and 201 North Main Street. And just a disclaimer that 201 North Main Street, we have not been assigned a new address for the property that we purchased from Lois Meyer Methodist Church yet, as that is still being recorded. And they'll generate us a different address, but that's the parent tract to the Lois Meyer Methodist Church, that address number. So what this resolution, reimbursement resolution does is that if the city council at the time in the future would like to utilize the funds that they used to purchase the property and roll that into financing for a future build on that property, you could then use that. You have to adopt a reimbursement resolution within 60 days of the purchase of the property. So this would be for those two properties. Not to say that you have to utilize this approach, but this gives you the ability. And if you don't do it within the 60-day window, you do not have that ability to use the $500,000 purchase price for 15 and the 286 approximate for the 201 North Main. So it's just open up an option in the future.
Can I ask, what are the drawbacks for this?
There's really no drawbacks to adopting the resolution because it just gives you the option. Just you could use the purchase price into your financing. Some soft costs as well. So,
And did we not purchase both properties well underneath the appraisal amount and save the city and citizens a lot of money?
they were under the appraised value
Thank you.
for our appraisals, yes.
Motion to approve reimbursement resolution 11-2023.
Sure.
Okay. Next up is consideration to adopt the downtown master plan.
While Joe's getting up to the podium, Mayor and Council, I'll just give a quick accordance with your strategic vision to adopt master plans for targeted areas within the city of Lowell. We went over this during the January and February 2023 budget retreats for the current fiscal year that we're in. And Joe's going to bring you up to speed on some of the feedback that he's received from the Lowell Community Committee, who received a presentation on this Lowell Downtown Master Plan, and also the Lowell Planning Board.
All right. Thank you. Madam Mayor and members of the council, as the manager stated, you guys had seen this plan quite a few months ago. Over the last month, the Lowell Committee and the Planning and Zoning Board both received this presentation with myself and Dimitri Bacchus, who was the consultant on this project. So in similar fashion to our Exit 22 adopted plan, and for those in the room, that the town will from time to time for certain areas develop these comprehensive plans, or what's known as a master or a vision plan. Those are kind of interchangeable, to try to look at what could be, what is kind of these big picture ideas, and really kind of hone in on certain very important areas of town to try to see, well, what could be in the future, what are the future needs, what kind of things would work in those spots. So after both of the presentations with the LCC and the planning board, both boards recommended approval of this plan unanimously to the city council. And so we have the slides here, and I was just going to kind of refresh everybody's memory, and then I'll be able to answer any questions that you may have. So the area shown here on the screen in pink was the study area. Roughly goes from area close to Phillips Street going down West First, and then north towards Harold Rankin Park. This slide is essentially that same shot, but kind of highlighting, kind of showing you existing infrastructure. So the entire study area, what kind of makes it neat is that everything is kind of already gridded out. This area has existing buildings, existing infrastructure, existing roads, so it kind of makes it a prime spot that, if in the future as development comes through or properties turn over and sell, that it would be advantageous for somebody, because typically somebody's not going to have to extend water lines or do those sort of things, because this infrastructure kind of emanating from our core has been here for a very, very long time. This kind of just takes away that aerial that you saw in the last one, and kind of shows you the parcel outlines in gray, and then kind of the existing buildings and infrastructure. Again, kind of similar to the last one, but just somewhat of a less busy view. Again, kind of highlighting this kind of gridded system that you would typically see in traditional ways to kind of get in and out of different pieces of property. So one thing that we know and we've heard for a long, long time is, Highway 7 comes right through our downtown. Doesn't make it the for having a lot of walkability, and so we've kind of highlighted that in this plan to kind of show, okay, eventually we would really love to see a rerouting of that. So again, this is just a hypothetical. I would, ignore roundabouts and those sort of things, but kind of giving the idea of this term that's been thrown around of 3rd Street, rerouting of 3rd Street. And so the idea would be to take the McAdenville Road, and instead of having the route come and zigzag through downtown, that we would actually continue down. And you could see in the future getting that traffic and all that stuff away from the downtown, around the businesses and existing homes and some of those other areas, and then dumping out further down 7 could potentially be an option in the future. This is something that staff works a lot with the MPO and NCDOT constantly when we're looking at roads and where projects should be. So again, what that would do, you can kind of see if the dark black line would become the major kind of thoroughfare through, thus, and then the gold line would kind of really be the downtown core, because now it doesn't have the truck traffic, it doesn't have all those things, and you kind of start getting a little bit different feel, and you can kind of see how that would work there on the screen. Another big area that we would like to focus on in this downtown master plan would kind of be the areas between 1st and 2nd Street. So a lot of planning gurus and the like, we talk a lot about, well, what makes a downtown walkable? Well, having big enough sidewalks, right? We know during COVID, a lot of stuff moved out. A lot of people utilized sidewalks, restaurants, all those things. Well, that's kind of caught on. Something that kind of used to be around, then we got out into the suburbs and our shopping malls and all that kind of stuff, and now you're seeing a resurgence, people wanting to come back into the downtowns, wanting to be able to walk to the different shops and not have to drive just to essentially walk through a indoor downtown is essentially what your mall is, right? So what we are proposing on this slide, and we've had conversations with NCDOT and also with our downtown business owners and property owners, is basically what would be a trial run. So what you would do essentially would be to paint, using paint, and then maybe some bollards, planters that could be moved, is you simulate what it would look like if you made sidewalks wider, if you change the radiuses of curbs. So again, not adding infrastructure, this is extremely low cost, but it's basically a trial run for us and DOT. So we would ultimately get a plan that DOT would be okay with, and then again implement it using paint and other items to do that, and then we'd kind of wait and see what the results would be from that. So, benefits, obviously you're not spending a tremendous amount of money to do this, and you kind of get to have an idea of what it's like. So this was a very key part. And again, when we had our sessions with the property owners and those other downtown, this is received well. So another key part, and we mentioned it a little bit earlier in this agenda and through other media outlets, is kind of having an additional anchor. Well, the location for the future City Hall and proposed police department would be a perfect anchor for this downtown. It's kind of about, oh, not quite halfway down, but at a major intersection of Highway 7 and our Main Street, and could really serve to be an anchor or a centerpiece, if you will, for the town. Again, these are just artistic renderings. This isn't, nothing has been designed. This was just kind of what would it look like if a building plopped down in there, to kind of give you some sense of area and, how much parking could you put on it. So there's over 72 spaces would be available for City Hall employees and visitors during weekdays. So that basically, you can kind of see the activation of on-street parking, right, would be a primary goal there, to kind of utilize, some of the street network and all of those other things, in addition to things that would be on-street. Again, pushing buildings closer to the street, closer to the sidewalk, kind of activating those spaces, and then having some green areas in between the proposed building and the existing church, kind of having that good symmetry between those two. The next one would just be another iteration. Again, if the property is on that corner, if they were ever to be sold or something, it just kind of shows you, oh, you could add a few more parking spaces, almost 22 there, if that was ever a possibility. And then if there was ever any sort of future expansion, you could take those spaces out, and roughly a building about 10,000 square feet could kind of fit in that space where there's currently 2 existing houses. So again, this is just kind of pie in the sky. This isn't something that's going through. This is, again, just to kind of have some imagination of what could be or what's possible, and just kind of showing you relative sizes of different things. So again, just kind of highlighting our street network, and really how fortunate Lowell is, because at its kind of inception, and then the way it was built out, having these gridded systems is actually very helpful when it comes to getting businesses. They can kind of access on every side, so depending on how the property's redeveloped, you always have a ton of options. You could face every street and kind of maybe park internally. There's just a lot to kind of go on there. And what's actually pretty neat here too is you'll see the gray squares, and for those of you that are far away, those gray squares are ideas of the amount of parking that could possibly be put there. And so we're looking at on-street parking, almost 675 spaces in this illustration could be put. So basically, if you take what a regular parking space in drive aisle would be, and you kind of stuck it internally, because you want to pull those things in, you want to encourage buildings and storefronts to be at your street edges, and kind of putting the parking back behind to kind of encourage that walkability. But even just in this small footprint we're talking about the possibility of several hundred parking spaces could, if you redevelop it like it's showing in this plan. Next slide kind of starts dropping in uses, different types of uses that could go there. The consultant basically took our existing zoning ordinance, looked at the zoning uses that would be allowed, and then kind of came up with a hypothetical. The different colors are kind of just indicating different uses, and then we kind of approximated the parking based on that, but it kind of just really lays it out pretty well for you, so that you could see that there's the possibility, just for example, in red, based on the lot sizes and the available parking, you could get anywhere between 75,000 and 125,000 square feet of retail, based on the existing footprints and the parcel, the way the parcels are put together. If you wanted some office space, or some other kind of mixed use, there's anywhere between 50 and 100,000, and that's kind of being shown in blue, that could be possible. So again, this was just kind of a theoretical mix, and then attaching some parking, kind of showing you, on the ground what could be. This is basically just a more similar plan as the last one, just kind of taking off all the kind of busy colors and just kind of give you an idea of the block network. Another important thing with the downtowns and when you're planning these and what you want to keep in the back of your head, again, these plans is what we would try to use as we're talking to developers, as we're thinking through rezonings. We're always referring back to the comp plan or any other adopted plans from council to kind of guide staff's decisions on how we talk to developers. So again, having a plan like this, guiding them, saying, hey, you know, we really like this thing fits with our ordinance, you know, and, you know, maybe here this is illustrating greenway networks, right? So you kind of have your primary road there highlighted in yellow, but what about trails? What about connecting, you know, Harold Rakin Park? You know, if you did some improvements there, it's showing going through like the cemetery area and then going basically behind a block and going through some parcels there and connecting those threads. So now you've added another way for folks to get around. You don't have to walk down Main Street. Maybe there is a trail. Maybe there's something like that. Again, just stuff for us to be thinking about, and also kind of connecting down East First Street as well. What they've kind of highlighted here is kind of 2 or 3 areas. So they were calling the kind of the west, northwest area, the entertainment area. A lot of stuff you see, you know, there's in Charlotte or wherever else, is the reuse of these, a lot of industrial buildings. So you'll see a lot of food halls or mixed use where there's residential on the upper floors and some commercial. So again, it's just an idea to kind of get you thinking, oh, maybe that could be a cool music venue that had this thing or that thing. Again, nothing concrete, just some ideas. And then finally, these last few slides is like, okay, what would that actually look like kind of in a 3D rendering? So up on the screen here, to give you a point of reference, City Hall is currently this corner. Everybody recognizes the 2-story building on the corner. And so basically what it's taking is those earlier slides that had all the multiple colors. This kind of puts illustration to it and kind of shows you in that 3D form of, okay, what would it look like to have a 2 or 3-story building on this corner, or so on and so forth, and kind of giving some life to those 2-dimensional plans. And then lastly, these are basically zoomed out versions. So this kind of encompasses the entire study area, again with Harold Rankin up here in this corner, and then our existing mills and other areas down here for your point of reference. The railroad tracks are kind of right here. So again, just kind of a zoomed out 3D view of really what could it look like if Lowell was built out kind of the way that it was shown here. So I'll stop there and I'll answer any questions the council may have.
Do you have a time frame?
Again, this is not a
Right.
build out. So again, this would be a guiding book, guiding plan if council chooses to adopt it. Similar to the Exit 22 plan that you guys had adopted a while back. Again, it's guiding principles. It's not, this isn't ingrained like the LDO. It did take into consideration our current ordinance, so that's why you're seeing like 2 and 3 stories downtown instead of like 10. Right, because he said, okay, based on the way your land development code currently reads, these would be the possibilities. So, you know, as things change or ordinances get changed, then in theory you could update this plan to reflect those changes. But this would be a document we would bring alongside of us, along with the LDO, and said, hey, we like that design. Let me show you something over here that the council has approved, and kind of use it as another thing. It's not a binding, you have to put this building that looks like this here.
Here's my question. I believe firmly that City Hall believes need a new building, and I think it need to be combined under one roof. I think all that's correct. I'm not convinced extending the road, backing up there, buying up people's property, doing that is the best thing to do. We've got this piece of dirt right here. We've got the best interchange in the world right there. I don't know why we can't network this together and make this interchange better, feed all the traffic that way, and keep it out of downtown without buying up property, you know, doing all this stuff back through that way. Again, we got this god-awful road for these god-awful warehouses that are coming through here that we can utilize as well, come off 7 and feed again back there, that way into 22. If it were me, planning, I'd scrap that whole extension that we're talking about going through there, cut the corner here, protect our downtown and our properties interior, and keep it all outside and keep going this way. I think we ought to look at it that way, if it were me.
I'll just say that this study didn't really look at a major transportation study. It took the 2017 downtown study that was already adopted, and that's where that Highway 7 3rd Street reroute came from.
And I get that. The things are moving like this. In 17, we didn't know about that. We didn't know about this. We didn't know this. I've been saying this since I've been on this council for 6 years. Why the hell are we pointing this way? And we keep building a road and going down McCavill Road. Doesn't make any sense to me. You've got it all right here. You got these tracks. That's the big thing. Get rid of this building, rebuild it, put those guys over here, direct traffic this way. And now you've got another road that you didn't even have to pay for, built over here, and redirect that way. And dump it again off 22, which is already built to handle it. It's only gonna get better with the 85 widening. I don't even understand why we're talking about bringing anything into downtown law when you've got all this right here that's available to us. We're not even talking about it. I've been begging for it for 6 years.
Sounds good.
Take them that way. I'm not cursing the downtown master plan. I get it. I appreciate it. That's the way it's going, right? But we just see it right down here in Cramerton. You know, 3 levels. You've got retail, then you've got apartment, or condo and condo on top of that. That's the way, the direction that things are going. We want to do it the right way. We want to stage it correctly so we can handle it all. And all that looks great on paper. But at the end of the day, we all still have to live here. And we all want to be able to manage it. And nobody wants to have to do some crazy stuff for a truck,
Right.
you know?
Understood. Any other?
Any other questions? Comments?
Oh, scrap it.
Yeah. And if I may, so if the plan were to be adopted as is, and then a plan had come up, then, you know, plans can be updated and adopted, and if one of those, the scenario that you described, would.
It's nothing set in stone. This is a vision. You know, that's all this is.
Correct.
Right now, so, not scrapping anything, nobody's hammering anything down. Transportation piece of it.
That's the end of my presentation, Mayor.
Work.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
I think you're adopting the master plan. You're not adopting, you know, this building X to be built at 3 stories with this, this here. You're adopting the conception.
That's the conception that has those road things in it on the other side.
Pardon?
So, but the road that you're talking about has it on the other side, is what we're talking about. So,
Well, everybody's approving a road over there either. Maybe we think, what I'm suggesting is, part of looking at this master plan is that road, that roundabout, is a way to relieve traffic from downtown. All I'm saying is, there's some other things too. Didn't change this. This still remains the same. You're still looking at the same philosophy, as you will, for this area. Where the roads go, whatever, doesn't really matter at this point. What you're saying is, I am in favor of the adoption of a plan to develop this area in this sort of way, because we know it's coming, right?
Sure.
You could do nothing, and you can let one bing off, and this guy can build this kind of place, and this guy can build this kind of place, and so on and so forth, you can get a hodgepodge. Or you can try to contain it and do the right thing. So I'm not saying the adoption is wrong. I would look at the transportation piece of it moving forward. Personally.
So, guess we need a motion to adopt the downtown master plan.
I motion to approve the adoption of the downtown master plan. I think it's great. It's a plan.
This plan is not set in stone. It's
That's
just,
right.
gives guidance. That's all it is.
That's right.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor? Did you vote? Okay. All opposed? Okay. Moving right along. Next is 6D, consideration of the risk-based remediation closure at 1602 North Main Street.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm gonna turn this over to our city attorney, John Russell.
All right, thank you, Scott. With the demolition project at the Crompton site rapidly winding up or coming to a close, the Superfund program has advised the city that they are ready to proceed with closeout of Superfund oversight for that project. Part of that process is the owner, the property owner, which is the city's consent to risk-based remediation closure. What that means is the site does not have to be cleaned up to the point where there's no risk. It's just cleaned to the point where the risk is appropriate for the use that you're making of it. So for example, on this site, you're not gonna have any residential, you're not gonna have daycare, you're not gonna have things like that. So you don't have to do vapor barriers, you don't have to take that site back to a no-risk standard. So you've got your public works facility, certain areas where there has been some contamination noted in the testing will be paved over, and so that would be one example of an acceptable risk. You don't have to remove all that dirt and pay to do that. So that's what they're asking. The testing that Mid-Atlantic has done, the oversight from the Brownfields program and the Superfund have indicated that you are at the point where this can be completed, document can be submitted. I think their time frame for closing this out is towards the end of the year. I don't know if you have anything to add on the financial implications of closure from the Superfund site. I'll let you take that if there's anything that needed. But from a legal standpoint, state's good with this, and it kind of allows you to then proceed with for the projects that you've got developed on the property.
Yeah, on the finance side of it, NCDEQ recommended that we proceed with this, and then I asked, is this going to preclude us from any access to the Superfund funds, the foreclosure funds from the Crompton and Knowles Corporation in North Carolina from their 3 sites across North Carolina, and they said it would not. Now, they're not going to maybe open this back up for the matter of, say, like some low amount, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, but a large find, if you will, on excavating 4-footers for a new building, and if there's an issue, then we could still access those funds. So, that's all I have. Let me add to that too, that just for the idea of the public on this is that all the testing that has been done on this site, I know we've talked about this a lot, has been clean. That the slabs, the T-clip slab analysis from all approximately 30 buildings have came back negative, and that concrete's been crushed and hauled off to a landfill where it's reused or put in the landfill, the line landfill on site So a lot of the, I guess, idea of contamination on the site, you know, we've been walking through this for many years, and it's been found that it is not as contaminated as, I guess, the layman would think. And I think we were all laymen a couple years ago, and we're a lot more familiar with environmental science at this point. But this site too, on any future deed restrictions that DEQ will put on this site is to the tune of we can't drill a well for drinking water on the site. Well, we have a 10, 12-inch main out in the front yard of this property. That was never a consideration to put wells out there anyway. Also, as a process of the Brownfields program, that all the groundwater monitoring wells are going to be closed out on this site as well. And DEQ's already involved in that process.
Any other questions or concerns?
What we do tonight, was anything we do tonight close this thing out permanently?
Well, that's what they're requesting. They're requesting that we,
This finishes it up, correct?
the risk-based remediation
Correct.
gets super fund off of the site.
Yeah, this does.
Yeah. So we just would need a motion for that approval, so I can execute the documents.
Second.
Have a motion, Phil, and a second, Andy. Okay, all in favor? Unanimous? Very good. Next is consideration of change order 5 for the demolition project at 1602 North Main Street.
Thank you, Mayor. We received from our demolition contractor, Trifecta, this list of change orders that you have in your packet, and I'll go through those change orders. As these buildings come down, they're finding some things, or it might have been covered up with brush, and, you know, you're starting to get a little bit of leaf drop out there and uncover some of these hidden things from before. So I'm gonna just start on the map page and kind of work my way counterclockwise. So behind building number 2, there's a little bit of sidewalks and a concrete kickout. And then up on building number 4, which we know as the rose-colored building, that the only one that's gonna remain there per the master plan of this site. Ask them to just quote boarding up those windows so that we can secure that building once there's no contractor on the site going forward. Then near building number 31, there's some concrete areas that would not be included in the original demolition contract. Let's see, go up to number 6, near building 17, a concrete slab and pit. Drop back down to number 7, there's near building 5, there's some concrete walls, or little small retaining walls. And then back up to number 5, near building number 9, there's some small concrete walls. Between buildings 13 and 10 on number 4, near building 10 and 13, there's concrete walls as well. Next to building 26, concrete walls. On number 2, concrete steps, wall, and concrete corner block. Number 1, behind building 7, concrete steps, sidewalk, and a landing. Near building 11, concrete slab as well. So our construction oversight over there from Labella recognizes that these features on this site and the future plans for the project are going to have to be demolished in the future anyway. So while you have a demolition crew out there mobilized, you're not going to pay mobilization because they're already there. So I think it's a more efficient way to get these things taken care of. And I want to add in a little bit about the funding on this and where we're at right now. So we did receive a $2 million grant for this site, to take down this site. If this were to be approved, plus the additional item that we added to tonight's agenda, which is longer oversight of our construction manager on this project, we would be at $1.766,246,000, which leaves approximately almost $263,000 left. So we're still under the $2 million grant for this project. I think there'll be possibly a few small items that might pop up in the next month as they're taking out slabs. They're kind of discovering things when they take out the slabs. They're doing the soil sampling. They might find a vault. We did find a vault, but it was underneath an old pump house. It's kind of, I guess, to be expected that you would see it there. Maybe not so much on some of these other larger warehouse buildings and manufacturing buildings. So I think we're in good shape as far as the budget of the grant goes. And just to call attention to the change order, they're giving the best value price option to include all those at $49,300. And we could add those alternatives there if you wish. The $6,000, $7,800, we're not into those numbers, but approximately $16,000 that would evidently, we're still to the good to be able to do that as well. And then that last bullet point says deduct to not process concrete and send off recycling off-site. That's incorrect. That does not follow the environmental management plan, so we will not get any discount for that. They will have to take these concrete materials like the rest of the site and follow the EMP. So I'm not sure the confusion there, but so it'd be staff's recommendation to do the best value price option plus the two alternates, underneath at Building 11 and Building 31.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we receive the consideration for change order number 5 of the demolition of project at 1602 North Main Street.
Okay. Have a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Unanimous? Next is item 6F, consideration of Withers Ravenel for Part F and LWCF grant administrator.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and Manager. Thank you for having us here tonight. My name is Cindy Schwartzkopf, and I am a practice leader with Withers Ravenel. I lead our design and planning team. And we are pleased to be here tonight to kind of just give you a little bit of a quick recap of where we are with this project, and to be able to kind of talk through some of the exciting things related to the grant. And Amanda Whitaker, who's one of our Director of Funding and Asset Management, will talk through a little bit about the Part F grant and the LWCF grant. And I guess I need to make sure I have a clicker up here. Thank you very much. So I just kind of want to run through a few slides with you. Again, I want to talk a little bit about Withers Ravenel. We're entering our 40th year. We're a full-service design and engineering firm. Again, I lead our design and planning group, and this is the group that would be that completed the master plan for you on the project and would also be doing the design on the project. I am very fortunate to have a group of 30 very talented landscape architects, engineers, and planners on our team, and we have done work all across the state, and some of your neighbors and others across the state where we've done work for towns, cities, and counties. We really focus in on community engagement, working with the community, understanding the needs of the community so that we can provide the best product for you. We focus on feasibility studies, master plans, public engagement, construction documents, all the things that we would need to take your vision into reality and to have an amazing park opening for you. Again, just quickly, some of the projects that we've worked on across the state, we have quite a variety in our resume. Everything from working on projects like the Triangle Swing Racket and Paddle project, Town of Apex Pleasant Park, huge facility that just opened up this past week, and we're really excited about that. Working off athletic complexes, community spaces, Kiwanis Park, nature preserves, greenways. I mean, we have all the different varieties of in-house talent that can do things, and that's why we were really excited to be selected to do the master plan for you, for your project. And my team worked on this earlier this year to complete the master plan, which is one of the requirements to be able to submit for the PARTF and LWCF grants that Amanda's going to talk about. But, the work on this project culminated in many different types of concepts, but this is what the concept that was selected. And so it's really exciting to see the vision that you're going to have at full build out for this project. It was interesting to hear the mayor talking about, Harold Rankin, and then here's the park. So, it's all nice making something in honor of this gentleman as well. For the PARTF and LWCF funded elements, the city received $500,000 from PARTF and $500,000 from LWCF. What we are here to talk about tonight is phase 1 of the project, and the things that are in green on the image there is what is part of that and what was funded. And I also kind of expanded that out there. The multi-purpose field, basketball court, pickleball courts, bocce, a mulch nature trail, expanding the playgrounds, restroom buildings, pedestrian walkways. These are all things that were included in the funding application and approved, and that's what this part that we're talking about tonight would include. The others are future elements that would be done at a later date. Again, just kind of talking about our funding, we have an amazing funding team at Withers that works with our partner communities to find money for different projects. Again, recapping, the $1 million that was found for this project. The last thing I kind of wanted to talk about quickly is just to talk about the phase 1 of this project and the scope of work that we're proposing. Amanda, again, is going to get into a little bit of the PARTF and LWCF. That's why the one looks a little bit different, because it shows different buckets, for lack of a better word, of where the money comes from and how it can be spent. But quickly, to get you from the master plan to having a set of construction documents ready to construct, there's different tasks. The project management deals with kind of like our day-to-day work with you and the consulting team, making sure the project's moving forward, meetings, things like that. Included in that also is grant administration services that Amanda will talk to. The due diligence phase really is talking about survey, subsurface utility engineering, making sure that we're not going to have any conflicts for any underground utilities, things like that, hydrant testing. When we get into schematic design, that's the preliminary. That's where we are really starting to take that master plan and really progress it into something that we'll be able to construct. We then would move into a design development phase, which really takes the preliminary plan to about 65% or so. Design plans, we would have site plan, utility plan, grading and drainage, landscape plans, all of the different sheets that we would need to have a permittable and constructible set. And then we move into the construction document phase, and that's where we finally have the set of plans that's going to be permitted and approved and will be used for the bid set to move to construction. One of the things that we also included is an opinion of probable construction costs. We all know right now we're kind of living in a volatile market related to construction costs, and things are changing on a daily basis. So we've actually put in the option to have 2 different opinions of probable construction costs done so that we can really track those and stay on top of things and be able to monitor them and give you the best guidance that you can have related to the changes in construction costs. Also would help us, if we start seeing things getting a little bit out of whack in one line item, we can come back to you and talk about it. Maybe we can make some alternates. We can do things to kind of get things back in line. And then also having bid advertisement services, that's the last line item. That would be part of this Phase 1 work with the funding source and then city funding. And with that, I'd like to have Amanda come up for just a second and just kind of talk through some of the mechanics of the funding, and then either of us are available to, answer any questions that you all might have.
Thanks, Cindy. I'm Amanda Whitaker. As she said, I head up our funding services team at Withers. We have a team of about 9 folks. One of those, Alice Briggs, helped with the writing of both of these applications for Part F and the Land and Water Conservation Fund. And when we first started the process of writing these, we were looking at a little bit over $1 million budget. And Part F has a max of $500,000, and then the Land and Water Conservation Fund was over that $500,000 mark, and they asked us to reduce that amount to match exactly, because there's a match required. So the match had to match 50% exactly to meet that $1 million mark. So that's how we arrived at that $1 million budget. What you see here is not $1 million. What you see here are our services. So this would come out of Part F, that first line, $42,250 would come out of the Part F grant, and then the second line, $42,250 out of the Land and Water grant, and then the city funding is the last column. Part F, traditionally, neither one of these funds pay for grant administration services. Those are paid for out of city dollars. The way that this contract is structured, it is a fee not to exceed. That's how most of our contracts are structured for grant administration. So $50,000 of this $86,500 would be grant administration, and that is an hourly fee. That's typically how it's structured. It can be split over 2 budget cycles, so you can split that fee if you wanted to budget for it half and half, because this is a 3-year project timeline for Part F and Land and Water. So we foresee that that can be budgeted in 2 cycles if that's needed. And then the remaining part of that is the project management, which is different than grant administration and would be in a lump sum. And then the remaining pieces that you see coming out of the city funding would be what was remaining that we removed from those original budgets, because Land and Water wanted to see that exact match of $500,000. So in order to make all this come together and for us to have all the dollars for the project as well as the services, that's the budget that you see in the different coffers. And I'll be glad to answer any questions around the Land and Water, Part F, and how it's structured, and what this might look like going forward.
When's the soonest you can get started? I don't have patience. But I've
As
had
soon
to
as the
learn-
contract's
I've had to
signed,
learn it
essentially,
over
yes.
8 years.
Yes.
We passed something, I won't start tomorrow, but I understand you can't do that, but I thought maybe you could just give us some kind of dateline.
Do you have a
Oh, yeah,
timeline?
I can definitely do that for you. As soon as we have a contract that is signed, we have our survey crews ramping and ready to go. I need to give them about 4 weeks to get started. It takes about 2 months probably from the time we say go for them to have all the survey SUE things done. Then we roll into design and permitting. That's probably a 6 to 7 month time period. Then we'll look at, going into bidding and all of that. So, from when you say go, we're probably about 10 months until we can have the documents ready for you to bid and go. So, we are very invested in this project. We want to move forward with this master plan. We're excited about it. So I have resources and a team ready to go.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mayor, I'll just say that the city funding would come from the Community Investment Fund. That's where we would pay this 153 out of. So if you approve the contract, I would just ask that you make mention that the funding source would be coming from the Community Investment Fund on the city's portion, and then we can bring a cleanup budget amendment to the next meeting.
Make a motion to approve Withers and Ravenel for Part F and LWCF grant administration, including $153,606.65 from our CIF Community Involvement Fund, Investment Fund.
Have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor? Unanimous?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next is 6G, consideration. Did we do it? Next, 6G, consideration of budget amendment number 8.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to turn this over to our Assistant Chief Jeff Harrison and Lisa Nolan, Finance Director at Tag Team this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This budget amendment will be to move some funds from the asset forfeiture money that's received by the city to the police department's budget to wrap and stripe the UTV that we acquired from the fire department, and also remove the striping and restriping the police department striping the white trailer that you see that says Lowell Volunteer Department. The asset forfeiture money is money that the city receives for police department use, specifically for drug use or police officer equipment type of things. That money comes from drug tax. Basically, if you're caught with illegal drugs in the state of North Carolina above a certain amount, just like anything else, you are required to pay taxes on that. There's a whole division of folks in the Internal Revenue Service that do the drug tax. They come regularly to our police department and collect cash that we take off of folks that we catch with drugs in order for them to pay their drug tax. The money comes in to the to City Hall, and Ms. Nolan keeps up with it, how much there is. Just briefly, there's this, I believe you have this document with you. Since 2014, less the $510 that we have previously used out of this, there's $10,294 that is in that. And that we're constantly receiving that money because as people are arrested, they have to pay their tax warrant on their drugs that they're caught with. So as they're caught with more money, they pay more taxes until their debt is paid to the people of North Carolina.
I've got a different number on the memo. What?
That's, I'm sorry, it's $1,900 that will be included in this amendment.
We've got a $4,544.45.
I went in and updated that, and for some reason, it didn't stick.
Okay.
So I went back to the year 2014 and found all the revenue that we had, and it was 10,800. We only spent $510 of that, so we still have $10,294 available to spend. I don't know why it didn't keep my changes. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Thank you for that clarification.
Make a motion to approve consideration of budget amendment 8.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor? Unanimous? Okay, next is item number 6H, consideration of budget amendment number 9.
Thank you, Mayor. This is just a budget amendment to recognize $1,200 in revenue. We received donation from the Lowell Women's Club for 2 benches at the McCord Park that the city purchased. So this would increase the donated donations received on the general fund revenue, therefore increasing Parks and Recreation supplies corresponding account. And then, as a side note, we're working on just some commemoration that they were donated from Lowell Women's Club, some sort of placard to notate that at the park.
Make a motion to approve budget amendment number 9.
And second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Unanimous? Next on the agenda is 6I, consideration of Lowell Community Committee application.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm gonna turn this over to Tori. Is she in the hallway? Oh, there you are, right there.
Which one? Oh, it's on, okay. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Hope you are doing well this evening. So last month, Mr. Jarrell Mackey, who resides at 1102 North Main Street, submitted his application to be appointed to the Lowell Community Committee. Mr. Mackey moved to Lowell a little over a year ago, and he is really excited to become more familiar with the community, learn more about Lowell, and just help the community grow. One of the things that he's really excited about is communicating, getting out there, talking to the community. He put in his application that he feels like he is a strong communicator. He supervises over 10 of his truck drivers, and we're really excited and feel like he would make a good contribution to the LCC. And if he is appointed, he would serve a 3-year term, which would be until December 31st, 2026.
Do you have an application for him?
Did not attach, but I brought one to you. I felt super confident. I was like, I'm learning an agenda link, and then it didn't attach, and then I had a freak out moment about 15 minutes ago, so I apologize.
And all of our applicants have to go through a background check, is that correct?
Absolutely. And he submitted that form.
Make a motion to approve Jarrell Mackey with consideration of the Lowell Community Committee, assuming that he passes his criminal background check.
Absolutely.
Second.
Motion and second on the floor. All in favor? Unanimous?
Thank y'all.
Okay, next is, item number 6J. Consideration of Lowell Planning and Zoning Board applicant.
All right, Joe?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So we have an application that we have received to join the Lowell Planning and Zoning Board. Would like to add our Planning and Zoning Board also serves as our Board of Adjustment and our Stormwater Commission. So my apologies for kind of leaving that tag, but the way that we are structured, that board serves all three of those roles. So this applicant would be serving in all of those capacities if approved by the council tonight. So our applicant, Ms. Shuford, is, did I change? Yeah, that's the right one. Okay, sorry. She lived in Lowell for 2 years, but has over 20 years of experience working with different cities, contractors, and believes that she has the qualifications to kind of serve and be a help to this board. Similar as the last applicant for the LCC, if chosen, they would serve a 3-year term ending December 2023. And the application is attached in your packet.
I'll make a motion to approve Natasha Schufer. She's in the Lowell Women's Club, and she's been a great asset there.
Second.
Motion and second on the floor. All in favor? Unanimous? Okay. Next on the agenda is item 6K, resolution of the City of Lowell, City Council to retain Cranfield, Sumner, LLP, Milberg, Coleman, Bryson, Phillips, Grossman, LLC, and Napoli. Okay, I'm not gonna try that one. PLLC as special counsel for PFAS, microplastics, water contamination, litigation. Okay.
Mayor, I'm gonna let the city attorney, Mr. John Russell, take this one.
I wish I'd let him read it.
All right, thank you, Scott. Just a real, as kind of as a brief background, PFAS, as it's sort of known, is kind of one of the classes of forever chemicals that are used in things from fire spray to clothing to non-stick cookware and grease retardant things that are used in kitchens. And so they're a type of chemicals that don't degrade naturally or don't do so very quickly. Across the country, there's been a variety of testing by environmental groups, by the Environmental Protection Agency, by a lot of public interest or health advocates, and it has been detected in small quantities in various water supplies around the country, including locally. And so there's been a series of class action claims against companies like DuPont, 3M, Phillips, things like that. And so there are these large amounts of settlements, class action settlements that are available. These firms that are listed that Mayor Raley read out are sort of plaintiff firms that are experienced in this type of litigation, and they have reached out to various municipalities, including here in Gaston County, Belmont, Mount Holly, City of Gastonia, and provided a questionnaire that can be completed by the Public Works Director. and used to tap into the class action settlements. So after learning about that, we talked with Cranfield Sumner, which is a Charlotte firm and sort of one of the local ones. They're willing to do so for Lowell. There's no testing of PFAS in the water supply at any harmful levels at this point, but you do need to go through this process if you want to try to collect any of the class action settlement money, or at least to do so through individual claims against them. There is the option that you can opt out of individual claims, and in that case you just sort of wait for the court to administer the class action settlement. Usually that's going to take longer. Oftentimes the amounts recovered is going to be less. So this would be sort of a contingency fee arrangement. There would be no fees that are paid regularly for this. It would all be paid out of the settlement funds. And so what you're doing here is just authorizing the city. The city still needs to be a client of these law firms for them to file the complaint and to try to access the class action settlement money. And that's what this agenda item is for, and the resolution that you'd be adopting, if you wanted to do that, would be to be represented by the firms for the purpose of filing a claim against the class action settlement funds. Be happy to take any questions.
So this is merely a way for the city to not, how do I word this? If a city water customer finds that they fall within this, for whatever reason, wants to file a claim, as long as we are there as a plaintiff, it protects us, rather than them being able to say, the city of Lowell furnished this water, even though it came from over here. This is a protect city of Lowell thing.
So the class action is for, it's not really a protection, it's an opportunity for the Lowell to access some of these funds. It is not
But for us to
anything-
handle this,
Yes.
it's a protection of the city of Lowell.
What do you mean by protection? I'm maybe
In
not
other words,
following you.
in other words, we are the water provider to our citizens. They're paying a water bill to the city of Lowell.
Right.
Correct?
That's right.
So by us standing in this position, we're therefore protecting us. The citizen can go through us, with us, to that, not at us for this.
I understand what you're saying. That's sort of I do not think that by filing this complaint, by accessing these funds, that we are eliminating any potential claims for contamination of the water supply. That is not what this is about. That's not saying that there are those claims out there. To our knowledge, there's not any actionable levels of PFAS that would be actionable against the city of Lowell for contaminated water supply. This is a class action settlement. It's available to municipalities. That's sort of the sole and limited part of this lawsuit.
I mean, because it gets weird, right? Because we're not sucking out of the river and processing, right? We're buying it up the street. Okay.
Basically, Mr. Attorney, what you're saying is that if we join this class action suit and they win, we'll get probably, if there's a victorious settlement, we will get more than if we didn't have this agency, this law firm.
That is certainly what those law firms will say. I think it is a fact that once you've got active claims, once you've opted out of the settlement, the process moves along faster. It is more likely that you're going to have a higher recovery than if you opt out and wait for the court to administer it.
Right, so if we didn't do anything, if it was successful, we would still be entitled to something, but if we went with this company, they would
Possibly, yeah,
probably
right.
get more.
And we don't pay them anything.
We do not, their fees would be paid out of the settlement funds, but not directly by the city. It's not a pay-as-you-go situation where they'd be sending hourly bills.
Help me understand. You said in the area that these findings have been in the water, is that correct?
There's been some level of PFAS detected in water supply, yes.
Is it water that we are being supplied to the city? That's my concern. So how, because to me, when they start throwing out lawsuits and going, okay, everybody jump on, it seems like there would have to be a reason that they're involving you, not just because you're in the area. Does that make sense? And so, help me understand
So
that.
I'll just say this, that Two Rivers is our water provider, and they added themselves onto this. So it'd be prudent, I think, us as a wholesale customer, them to do the same, and the deadline, I believe, is December 4th, 2023 to do so.
Should there be reason for concern? Because they added themselves to that over our water supply.
Yeah, our Public Works Director does water testing every month, and we have a water annual report that we've had no concerns in. But I think just as a cautionary process to add ourselves to this in the event that, you know, there's funding coming down, is that appropriate to say?
If we don't.
If you don't, you won't get it.
Yeah, I'm not against getting, now, I'm just, my thing was, do we need to be concerned about our water system? That's what, I mean, I'm all about that.
No, Councilwoman,
Fine.
we do not need to be
Ms.
concerned
Vandenberg.
about it. We already did that last month. Again, we test monthly. Those results get sent off to the state. We publish our water report card, so to speak, every year. It's on the website now, and we're required to do so by law. So.
Thank you. Any other questions, concerns? Motion to retain, do I need to say all these attorneys' names?
You just say approve resolution 14, 2023.
Okay, 2020, I don't see it on my, report. Yeah. I don't have it. Anyway, okay. Motion, to retain, resolution 14-2023.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Unanimous? Okay, next is, item number GL, which is what we added. Is the task authorization task order number 2, Lavella project number, former Yorkshire America site demolition. Phase extended construction, administration, construction over observation, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I'm going to let Danny from Labella, our engineer, talk about this. Danny, if you will.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor, Council, Manager. This is, goes off of what Scott did earlier today, about extending the contract for demolition. And our original contract covers up to 60 days of the contract, so this is extend to cover that. And the remaining projected closeout, excuse me, January 12th of next year. So that sums up that.
Just mention that typo, January 12, 2024, not 2023. That's
Oh,
on there.
2024,
We can get that
yeah.
fixed beforehand. But
Yep. And so that's to cover the change orders and the extended construction items. Is there any questions on that?
Mayor and Council, I have this as, Danny, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a not to exceed number if you're not
Yeah, that's
utilizing
correct.
this.
Yeah, and we were able to extend the budget of the original contract. It was for 60 days, but we're able to utilize up to 90 days, which is yesterday, and so this is to cover the extension to
to extend that to January 12th.
And again, this goes back to the balance of the 2 million grant is where this is funded from. Like I mentioned before, approximately 263,000 left in that contract, and that already assumes this 35,822 out of it. And I'll add that as a part of the erosion sedimentation control contract that we have Trifecta implementing on the site, which was bid at just under $500,000, right, Danny? It's about
That's correct.
$496. The way that Danny's been tracking that and his construction inspectors out there is that we're likely not even going to get to that number, that
Right,
caps that 496, and that
Yeah.
we're more in the 300s likely to
Right.
be finally built out.
Yeah, we performed some value engineering and came up with some ideas to stabilize the areas instead of using the silt bags to pump out the water, to divert it to in pumps and put in silt bags. So it was over $130,000 savings from that.
But my number I'm giving you with the 263 doesn't assume that because that contract's not paid out yet and the final pay app has not been in. So I'm just giving the worst case conservative scenario on that.
All right, any other questions?
Staff would recommend that we keep continuing working with LaBelle out there. They've been a tremendous asset watching the site and making sure the tickets are coming in correctly from imported aggregate and whatever the needs are, and the outgoing landfill tickets and just general oversight. They've been very helpful.
So are we looking for a motion or a direction? Motion for
Approval of task order 2.
task order number 2. Motion to approve task order number 2.
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor, all in favor? Unanimous? Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, it's not? Oh, okay, that's right. Thank you. I'd have been sitting there forever.
Me too. I'm looking.
Next is reports and discussions. City manager, Scott?
Just got a couple things, Mayor and Council. Update on the community center from the CDBG Neighborhood Revitalization Grant. They've installed 2 of the 3 exterior doors that you can see from the road in the basketball court. The other one just arrived into the construction company's warehouse, and they're installing it tomorrow. And 2 of the 3 windows that remain, and the 3rd window has been a bit of a bear to get built. But that is in process as well too. But he's going to go ahead and install the door tomorrow, and 2 of those 3 windows. And then I want to mention that through our safety coordinator and our city clerk / HR director, Cheryl, we submitted for a safety grant through the League of Municipalities for secured access to City Hall and Police Department. They like key fob access for employees, things like that. Is that totally funded from the grant, or was there maybe just a few $100s left out that the city would have to pay? Something that the police department in this building's needed for some time, so we'll let you know the outcome of that. And then I'll let you know also that our Parks and Rec events director, Tori, had a conversation with Toby from North Point. That's, I guess he's the project manager for the North Point site. And you recall the parcel of land that they were going to donate to the city on the Aberdeen Extension Road for a little pocket park. Yeah, correct, Councilman. And he reached out to us after a little bit of phone tag with Tori, and they're interested in maybe donating either to an existing park or maybe donating some construction services to an existing park So what we're gonna do this week is we're gonna meet with him and look at the Harold Rankin parking lot and see if any paving services would be donated. He seemed pretty eager to help in that regard. But again, once we execute with Withers Ravenel with the task order for LWCF Part F, get with them and make sure that doesn't really muddy anything with Part 2 of that plan. But again, we're going to go ahead and meet with North Point this week when Toby out there to see if that can be utilized out there. I don't know what they're trying to do with that parcel still. We'll find that out this week as well. If that's something they're still looking to convey to the city for a future opportunity or not, I'll let you guys know.
We definitely need that paved. Long time coming.
We've heard that, yep. we've
Hundreds
heard
of
that.
years.
Yes. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay.
One quick thing, I want to add, can you please reiterate, as it relates to the community center, that we're not dragging on that, it's not contractors not doing their job. This is a supply chain issue of not being able to fill windows and doors. It's holding this project up. It's not labor, it's not anybody not doing the job. You can't get this thing to fit this space,
Yeah.
right?
Very unique.
And that's what it is.
We had to go back with wood instead of vinyl. Probably been easier to get vinyl fabricated. Almost there.
The city's not sitting on their hands and not paying people or anything like that, so.
John?
Couple things, Mayor, just since we last met, the city did close on the future City Hall site and future Police Department property. That was October 27th, so that is done and complete. The deed and the closing did include a right of first refusal as to the church property. If the church were ever to convey that to a third-party purchaser, the city would have the option but not the obligation to match that if the council at that time, whenever that may be, decided to so chose. We had on the agenda item the authorization for the city manager to sign the closing documents for 715 North Main Street, the Salvation Army. That process is on track to close hopefully December 1st. We got the survey complete, I believe this week we received that. So the title search has been done, the title opinion's been sent to the title insurance company. So all that's been done. We're still got some work to do with the Salvation Army. The broker for that entity has said that typically their closing documents are signed by their entire board for some reason. So there's a lot of herding to do, but we think we're gonna get there and we're on target to get that done 1st of December. That's all I got.
Thank you. Joanna?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say a few things because I don't think I'll have the opportunity next week to say them. Don't do it. But thank you for always keeping me in line, okay? And being there when I needed, just to ask you advice or whatever. I appreciate you for that. There are not enough words for you, Scott Adley. There are not. You have been just a tremendous leader for things that, whatever it was, whether I needed to go to classes, whether there was something I didn't understand. Thank you. There's just not enough words for you. To you all, I have thoroughly enjoyed my time here. Mayor, it's just been such a pleasure to serve under you. And as we leave next week, like I said, because I don't believe we'll get to say words next week, so I'm just telling you this time. When you come into this world, you got one title when you come in, and it was a child of God, okay? You're a son or a daughter. And your title here, anything you get on earth is temporary. So it doesn't define you. Just remember who you are. Thank you for everything. All of you. I've enjoyed serving with you.
Thank you, Joanna.
You're welcome.
Mr. Finger?
I don't know what to say think our city staff, our manager is guided us in the right direction, put together a fantastic team. We've got a great council here. We can agree to disagree. You know, if you and I don't agree, doesn't make you bad people, doesn't make me bad people. Just means we disagree. Nothing wrong with that. And that's gonna happen tomorrow, and the next month, and the next month, and the next month. What I wanna see is the city of Lowell continue to move in the right direction. And I'm hopeful that we can continue to do that.
Oh, Lord. We have a great police department. We have a great public works. We have a great staff here that always work together. Anything we need, we just call it, well, I don't call and ask, I go through the proper channels, which is, I talk to the city manager about something, or if citizens over my 8 years have reached out to me, if I didn't know the answer, I always got the correct answer and went right back to the citizen who called me, texted me, messaged me, or even bashed me on Facebook, the Lowell Freedom page. I was bashed this whole campaign, and that's okay. I'm a loving Christian lady, and I forgive. I don't forget, but I forgive. Because I still love these people, and I have to be a part of, with them in this community. I grew up here, raised children here, grandchildren, and they're not getting rid of me very easily because I'm going to volunteer like I've always volunteered all my life on the Lowell Women's Club, on the Lowell Community Committee, in my church. And if anybody needs anything, I'm there, and a lot of people know that. But I do appreciate what Scott's done in just a small amount of time. We've disagreed several times, but I've gone to him in person, and we're okay. And I appreciate everybody. I can't say too much about the mayor because I'm not in the mood to cry. She's been a friend for a long time. Her husband and my husband grew up together, children. She's been the example of what a mayor should be like and act like. Act like. Class. When she goes out to represent Lowell, she represents Lowell well. She doesn't go out there and say, it's doing so bad I can't give it away, which a former mayor has done in the past, and he's getting ready to be the present mayor in December. We don't need that in Lowell. We need to be positive and move on. And I hope the new council can control the new person coming in. Is already wanting to change things and move the meetings to Holbrook, which will cost our taxpayers money, like $500 a month. That's ridiculous. It's all about show. But anyway, I won't get on that anymore. But I appreciate Travis and Mr. Gillespie here. We've all been through a lot together. And I love it here. And like I said, I'll continue to volunteer as long as I can. Thank you.
Wish the best of luck to everybody on their new endeavors, and welcome in the new council. See if we can keep Lowell going in the right direction.
I just want to say that I have been honored to serve the people of Lowell, and I love Lowell. It's been a great ride. I mean, from beginning to end. Seems like every time we look around, me and Candy, as well as the mayor too, we joined at the hips. You know, is it Triamese twins or Siamese twins? So it's been a really, yeah, Triamese three, Triamese. A new word. Got that Facebook new word. But it's been wonderful. Even you know, dealing with our city manager, I promise you that when you as citizens look around, you're gonna say, wow, we never had an inside place for our children to play basketball. They're gonna be able to go into a recreation center in Lowell that's of Lowell, for Lowell, for our kids to play basketball inside. They don't have to go borrow a schoolhouse. They will be, when you see the tread trail that people will be able to walk from South Carolina all the way up to Spencer Mountain, they'll say this council did it. There's so much going on that we need to continue going forward. Being a pastor, the Lord tells us, feed my sheep. Sometimes people will try, not pastors, to be a demagogue and fool you And you gotta watch for people who use demagoguery, that's fancy words and stuff, to trick people. Kipling said, to make traps for fools, he says, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twist it to make traps for fools, and not breathe a word about your loss. I didn't mind losing a bit, because I'll be back in 2 years, to tell you the truth. So I just thank God for the people of Lowell. I was born here, bred here, went to school here. When I die, I'll be a Lowell light to the end. Great people, great people. I didn't even vote, I didn't nominate Joanna, but I come to know her as a fill-in alternate for Ken Irvin. Ken Irvin has done a lot for this town, just as Joanna has. We're gonna move forward. Now, I'm like Candy, I'm not in favor of a lot of high taxes and stuff, but sometimes you gotta have money to do things. We did the best we could, I did the best I could, and working with Phil and Travis, and this board, it's been a joy. So Chief, when you see me, and you wanna give me a ticket, say, well, you used to be a councilman. You just give it to me if I deserve it, but if not, but it's been wonderful. I love all of you. I love all of you. And I thank God for everybody in here. Wither Ravenel, we've been with you from the beginning. I mean, before Sandy was mayor. We helped fix people's houses through the grants from Washington, D.C. that didn't cost them a thing. They got electrical, wiring, roofs. It's just so much that you'll look back and say, hey, we left it better than we found it. I thank God for the councilmen that's going in. Some of them are here tonight. Great friends of mine, and I love them, and I thank God for all of you. This man has got more grants and more money for Lowell in the short time that he's been here than any manager I've ever seen. So I thank God for Lowell. They say it's a great place to live, play, and work here. God bless you all. I'm going to give the same sermon in December, but thank you all.
Okay, well, I ditto everything that's been said. We got a great board up here, and we're gonna continue, like Candy said, to do good for this, city. It deserves it, and, we want nothing but the best for the city, and we don't wanna go backwards, we wanna keep moving forward, so, just stay positive, and, a lot of praying. But, I appreciate everyone that's here tonight. Hope that you'll come back and be with us again. But we're about to go into closed session, if I'm not mistaken. We'll take a 15-minute break. Thank you all for
Need a
coming.
motion to do what?
Motion to take a break.
Motion.
Second.
Go ahead.
No, second, all in favor?
All in favor?
Unanimous.
Yeah.
Hey, girl. I wouldn't. Good luck. You good luck.
Thank you for making everybody.